backbone of management, right? Not only management, for all kind of activities, if you want to undertake and you want a successful outcome, you have to be create an organization and you have to do your things in a organized way. So what it means is nothing but the structure of your delegation of authorities. So how you are going to put your employees, where you are going to put your employees, and what are all the responsibilities you are going to give to them. It depends on the levels of hierarchy, right? That is what we are going to see here as organization. So process of organization, it is used to identify the work, grouping of work into smaller groups, assigning work to every individual at every level in every department, defining its authority and responsibility, establishing relationships. So let us slightly move into the real-time organizations, right? All the political parties, major political parties, if you take, the prime minister candidate will not know the people's each and every individual who he is going to get the vote, right? So in Pondicherry, we will be here, we will be casting our vote to some of the political party which we are affiliated to, right? But we are not having direct connection with the top level managers. So whom I am calling top level manager? The prime minister candidates or the president of the party, right? They may not know I am the voter also, right? But because of the work which they are carrying out by creating an organization and creating a authority at different levels from central, state, district, even village level, even booth level and micro level, they are creating posts and they are giving their works and agendas, and it will be flown to the general public, right, through this kind of people. So this way they are creating the organized way of getting our votes, right? Same way the organization is also having the objective. That objective has to be come slowly from top to the bottom of the organization, and that objective have to be maintained and made it successful by all the levels of the employees, those who are doing their activities creatively, right? And they have to attain their result. This way it identifies the work, grouping work into smaller groups, assigning work to every individual at every level in every department, defining its authority and responsibility, establishing relationships. So all these are the different functions which is associated with organization. So that organization have to be created, or the organization have to be framed. It is not a unique, or it is not a one model which has to be fitted for all the organizations which has been there in the globe, right? So there might be a need for their own fit, right? Right fit. So the organization themselves dividing into different subdivisions, so different categories according to the needs of the organization, right? So it has been divided into functional structure. So organizational structure has been categorized into different ways. So first way we can say it as functional oriented structure. So functional is nothing but there will be a top level manager. For your understanding, let me put it as chief executive officer. Under chief executive officers, all the levels of the departments like finance, marketing, HR, operations, right? So all these are grouped under a department directly with the connection of CEO. So functional area. So marketing is a functional area. HR is a functional area, operations is a functional area, finance is a functional area, which will be directly connected with CEO. So that kind of structure we can say it as functional structure, right? So advantage here is it permits division of labor, encourages specialization. So you can directly put, if I'm a finance graduate, I have an experience in working in financial industry or finance related jobs, so I can be directly posted in that department. So that is the advantage here it is quoted, and disadvantage is fosters a limited point of view of narrow set of tasks. So the finance department only can do forecasting and budgeting, working capital management. So the thinking or the level of the work they have to do, which has its own constraint into a department, functional areas only. There will be no out of box thinking, or there will be no innovative ideas coming from them. If it is comes also, it will comes under financial or the specialized area. Next kind of structure is place structure, right? Place, so regional, national, international. Coca-Cola is the best example. So that comes under place. So first Asia, America. So likewise, the product has been, or the heads of the division has been set as according to the region, right? That kind of hierarchy, what we call it as place structure. That organization, what we call it as place structure or regional wise structure. So advantage attached with that is, advantage is that employee may begin to emphasize their own geographical based divisions. If an Indian has to be work Coca-Cola India, right? Likewise Coca-Cola America, but organization is Coca-Cola. It has to be there in every other regions in the world. So those who are working in that region, most probably they will be native, right? That way it will have its own advantage. So disadvantage here is that the structure stems from the duplication of functions and problem of lack of communicating among divisions, right? So different regions. Let us put in India itself. So there might be Mumbai. There is a branch, and Bangalore. There might be a branch. Both will be doing the similar work. There will be a high chance of duplication, or the production of Coca-Cola happening. Let us put a high volume in Mumbai. Likewise in the Bangalore also, it will create surplus, right? So if there is no direct communication between these regions, so that is the disadvantages attached with place structure. So multi-divisional structure or matrix structure, what it means is the combination of all the functional, place as well as product oriented comes as multi-divisional structure, right? So, so these are all the some of the different kinds of structures which is available in an organization, that has been given here as for an example for a functional organization. So president, under president, R&D manager, finance manager, marketing manager, and division product. So under R&D, it comes as design, development, testing. Finance, it is accounting, purchasing, finance. So what I have told you, CEO, finance. Next to CEO, it will become to the functional area, that is the finance. Next marketing, next HR, next R&D. So likewise, it comes. It has been said to be as the functional kind of structure of an organization. Next is the divisional organization. So see here, here we'll be having X, Y, Z, three different divisions or three major areas, right? Or three major countries. If it is, but the duplication of work, R&D is there for all the three, marketing is there for all the three, finance is there for all the three. So it comes as divisional organization. And the third category is the hybrid. What all the functional and divisional advantages have been taken into account and created as hybrid organization. So most of the organizations in current scenario using this hybrid organization structure only. So board of directors, management committee, then there will be all vice presidents, coordinator finance, marketing, and HR. Under that, directly there will be a connection between vice president and the countries, region wise, America, Asia, Europe, right? So all this comes as hybrid. So matrix structure, 4 into 4 matrix structure. So in column wise, we'll be having functional areas. In row wise, we'll be having managers, right? So project manager for functional area and division manager. So likewise, there is a matrix kind of structure comes as matrix organization, right? So these are all the different kinds of organization structure which is available in corporate. So next what we are going to see is concept of centralization. So I have already told you about centralization and decentralization. Centralization is keeping all the powers in one hand is called as centralization. Decentralization is delimiting or giving away powers to all the levels, right? So centralization is defined here as systematic and consistent reservation of authority at central point within the organization. So GST, goods and services tax, what we are paying, right? That is handled by our central government, right? All the tax structure, tax collections have been collected by the powers has to be with the central government, right? So that way centralization happens. So according to Louis A. Allen, centralization denotes that a majority of the decisions having to do with the work being performed are not made by those doing the work, but at a point higher in the organization. So all the decisions, all the implementations, everything has been imposed by one central power, not by the workers. So Henry Foyle also said about centralization, everything that goes to increase importance of the subordinate role is decentralization. Everything which goes to reduce it is centralization. So the delegation of authority or the responsibility has been handed over to the subordinate, next to subordinate, what it called as decentralization, without assigning any responsibility and handing all the responsibility in a single bench is called as centralization. So there are types of centralization which is available. Little, more, effective, no. So little centralization generally found in small organizations, right? So it might have very few powers handed by the owners or the managing committees, top level managers. More centralization, generally large and widespread organization follow it, right? So every decision has to be taken by the top level managers. That comes as more centralization. Effective centralization, it is time to time effectiveness, right? So no centralization. Management enjoys freedom of authority and responsibility. So there must be a combination of both centralization or complete decentralization after taking into consideration the nature of organization, its size and operations area. So that has been the centralization. What we have seen is little more effective and no. That little more effective and no centralization has been imposed on department performance and centralization of management. So department centralization, what it means is centralized concentration of specialized activities in a department or a unit. That is what here maintained said as centralization. If it is on the performance, geographic or single area based centralization. If it is on the management side, it means restriction of delegation to make decisions. So factors which affect centralization. So facilitate personal leadership, right? So one man army, we can put it as one man army. It facilitates personal leadership and provide integration, promote uniformity of action. So all this has been done by the famous Adolf Hitler, right? The centralization has been happened in their rule, right? Everybody will have to follow the sayings of the top level, right? So that way it happened. That is the factors which affecting centralization, handle emergencies, environmental influence, all comes as the factors which influences the centralization. So advantages of centralization, symbol of prestige, uniformity in policies, decisions, lower cost, better specialist, tighter control, flexibility and quick adaptability, better coordination, personal leadership. Because so decentralization some of the time will may pose responsibilities has to be moved from one person to the another person. Right. In case of centralization, the responsibility lies with the central committee. So they have to be careful and they have to take decisions. If anything goes wrong, they have to indebted to the situation. Right. So it will create more clarity and uniformity. And there will be no much cost which is involved. So there is no free kind of decisions, right? Tighter controls will be there. So it will not lenient to anybody. So one rule that has to be followed by all others. So disadvantages is bureaucratic, remote control, delays in work, lack of employee loyalty. So manufacturing sector, if you have more centralization, that will create more problems. There will be always a fight between management and the organization union, right? So it is like just remote control. So somebody is having this switch, they will on, you have to work. They off, you have to stop working, right? So that kind of situation is said here as remote control and bureaucratic, what I have told out of Hitler, right? Delays in work. So it will create problems, lack of employee loyalty also. If you tight more, if you give more rules and regulations, if you are not hearing the or understanding what your employees are thinking and imposing something on them, it will create problems. So that will make them lack of loyalty, right? Next concept what we are going to see, the opposite of centralization, that is decentralization. It is a situation in which ultimate authority to command and ultimate responsibility for results is localized as far down in the organization as efficient management of the organization permits. It is carried out by creating under a central organization number of autonomous units with mandates to operate as independent units. So which is like our let us put it again in a political manner, right? State or central government will be having one top level manager. In state, it is chief minister. In central, it is prime minister, right? So, under chief minister or prime minister, we will be having different ministers. So, under union cabinet ministers, we will be having minister of states, MOS. Under Minister of States, we'll be having secretaries, different kinds of secretaries. So under secretaries, there will be different kinds of officers are working, IAS are working, right? So all we can put it as decentralization. But they will be doing for the welfare of the people. The work which they are carrying out is very similar, but that work has to be decentralized and it has been given to different levels of an organization. That is said to be here as decentralization. So types of decentralization again: functional, federal, regional, decentralization by project. Right, all these are the different kinds of decentralization. So functional, what we have seen, HR, marketing, finance, all comes as functional decentralization. Function wise, we will be decentralizing the works and responsibilities. Federal, so a vehicle manufacturer would have separate truck, car, and bus divisions. So that is comes as federal decentralization. So regional decentralization comes as this happens when a business such as a multinational has bases in many different regions. Each one has authority over its own operation. So some products which may go very good in Europe that may not be accepted here in Asia. So Asia will modify and improve that product to their own local people. That comes as decentralization here, even though it is comes as the same product or same company product. So yesterday also there is a debate regarding Nestle products, right? Nestle infant products. For India, they will be supplying some product, but the same name. In Europe, they will be supplying different product, but the same name. So there, the sugar content is very less. Here, sugar content is more. So in Parliament, there will be a debate regarding this. So it will spoil our future, like if we give that product to our infant, right? So that are all the decentralization point of view, and centralization, decentralization project wise. So project A, project B. So different projects if you are doing, that project has to be given decentralization and powers. So factors which affects decentralization: easy burden on top executive, facilitate diversification, provide market and product emphasize, encourage development of managers, improve motivation, importance of decision, size of the organization, all comes as the factors which motivates, right, which motivates towards decentralization. So it will reduce the burden of the top executives, it facilitate diversification, right, provide market and product emphasize, encourage development of managers because they will be doing the work which has to be assigned to them, right, more effectively and efficiently. It will motivate the employees and improve their abilities so they can know the importance of decisions, and it depends on the size of the organization. All these are the factors which influences decentralization. If it is a very small organization, decentralization is not required. If it is a very big organization, so the controlling or the executives cannot look into all this. They can give decentralization, right? So according to that, it has been given here as size of the organization. So advantages of decentralization, there are various advantages of decentralization, such as gives relief to higher executives, as we know. So facilitates managerial development because of they will be doing all the important works and they will be taking decisions, right, according to the roles and responsibilities which is assigned to them, and promotes coordination, boosts the moral and efficiency of managers, promotes greater motivation. All these are the advantages of decentralization. And in case of disadvantages, increased cost. So specialized, you have to recruit specialized, skilled, technically strong people right? Then only they can able to take all the jobs which has been assigned to them, right? So it will increase cost, need for a generalist manager, problem of coordination, sometimes conflict of interest will arise. So all these are the disadvantages of decentralization. So next concept what we are going to see is delegation of authority. So delegation. So delegation is the process where a manager divides the work assigned to him so as to get help from others in accomplishing the same. So delegation of authority. So if a project manager in an IT company, he may have a project in his hand. So he will delegate different works or different activities to its members of that team, right? That is said to be the delegation of authority. So determination of results expected, the assignment of tasks, delegation of authority for accomplishing these tasks, the exaction of responsibility for their accomplishment. All this comes as concept of delegation. So delegation is the entrustment of responsibility and authority to another and the creation of accountability for performance. That is what delegation. If you are giving a specialized task to someone or sharing a specialized task with your subordinates, and by doing that you are going to judge their performance. That is what delegation means. So principles of delegation. So principle of delegation: by result, by competency, by confidence, parity of between authority and responsibility, principle of unity of command. So all this comes as the principles of delegation. So principle of delegation by result. The purpose of delegation is to get work done by another more effectively than be done by delegator himself in a given situation. So he might have another work. So including that work he may do the this work means he may not give his full idea, right? So that work has to be given to some other people and he is managing that work, then it will get good results. That is what principle of delegation by result. Principle of competency. So the person or the employee selected as the delegate should be competent for the task assigned to him or not. That is what I have told you. The specialized manager. The principle of confidence and trust. It is necessary to have an atmosphere of trust and confidence in the organization as the whole. Right. So if you are assigning any work to anybody, there you will be getting a confidence, right? So a manager who is assigning some work to an ex-employee, right? X or Y employee. So there might be some other employees also. Why he is giving that work to that employee? He is having some confidence on that employee. He may do that work properly, effectively, right? That is what here it is mentioned as principle of confidence and trust, principle of parity of between authority and responsibility. Authority delegated should be adequate in relation to the responsibility, right? There might be a good relationship you have to maintain. So principle of unity of command. So unity of command, it will be the same from the top to the bottom. So there might be less chance of any noises. So it has to be the same. There might be a need for a unity, right? Advantages: best use of manpower, time management, prompt decision making, builds team spirit, improves inter and intrapersonal communication, inflows new and innovative ideas, helps to build bench strength, right? So all these are the advantages. So you can use your manpower fully, will reduce the time, it will improve the efficiency, prompts decision making, it will build the team spirit, right? It will the single task has been divided among different people, and finally you will be getting a good result. Mean that happiness have been shared among the group members. So it will create a team spirit. Next time, if some other work is assigned to them, they will work coordinately, right? That is says to be the here team spirit. So it will improve inter as well as intra between and themselves, right? So inflows new and innovative ideas among the group members, helps to build the strength, right? It will improve the employee strength. There will be less retention or the employee out of the organization. So disadvantage here is so lack of knowledge of employee skills. So if you delegate some work to some employee, he might not know what it is. That might create a bad result or the work will not be completed. So lack of trust. So many managers either lack trust or do not want to trust their subordinates. So they might not very much interested to delegate. Lack of interest, lack of credit, lack of authority all comes as the disadvantages of delegating the work. Right. So next what we are going to see here is concept of line and staff organization. It is very important topic. So line and staff organization will be having two different kinds of staffing. So line functions are those that have a direct influence on accomplishing the objectives of an organization from top to next level. So levels of organization is said to be the line. Staff function helps to line to work effectively to accomplish organizational objectives. So line is from top to the bottom. In between, you will be having our vertical horizontal positions. We'll put it as vertical horizontal. So vertical will know all the objectives of an organization. That objective has to be carried out by the horizontal managers or the functional managers. Finally, you will be getting the or aligned with the objective. That is what said to be line and staff relationship. However, in reality, it is difficult to separate direct and supportive functions. In fact, based on the nature of the organization, the categorization of line and staff functions varies. Right. So, concept of line and staff organization. So, it is defined on two viewpoints: functional as well as authority relationship. So, functional, as we all know, department wise. Authority relationship means managers, or we'll put it as GM, AGM, DGM, AGM, then zonal managers likewise. That is what authority relationship. So Allen defined line function as those which have direct responsibility for accomplishing the objectives of the enterprise, and staff function as those elements of the organization that help the line to work more effectively in accomplishing the primary objectives of the enterprise. That is what I have told you, vertical as well as horizontal positions of the organization. So here it has been given a comparison between line and staff. A line manager is a generalist manager. So CEO, Chief Executive Officer, next Chief Financial Officer, next, right? That level, if it comes as, it is generalized. Staff authority is a staff manager is a myopic. So functional area, it comes here as the functional area. Line manager directs others. Staff manager assists others. So they will work upon. In case of line, they will give orders. So line manager delegates authority. They will give away the work. Staff manager serves authority. So they might be assigned as the work. Line manager trains subordinates. Staff manager investigates the problem. So they will be in the field. They will be in the position of giving orders. Right. So line managers will give or giving or dividing the works among different employees. That is the work for the line managers. Staff managers are those who are inside that work and doing that work, right? So the line manager uses sanctions, staff manager solves special problems, Line manager exerts control over subordinate. Staff manager makes plans. So types of staff: personal, specialized, and general. Right? Personal. So staff official is attached with the personal assistant or advisor to a line officer, comes as personal staff. Specialized departmental specialization staff. General, in any if we see recruitment of bank, so there they might be having general officers as well as specialized categories for credit risk, market risk, operational risk. They will be giving it as specialized vertical. In case of general, so those who are working general banking comes as general manager, right? That is what here it is mentioned: personal, specialized, and general staff. So line organization, type of line organization. It is pure line organization. All persons at a given level perform same type of work. Divisions are solely for the purpose of control and direction. So the same kind of work has been there from the top to the bottom, comes as pure line organization. Departmental line organization, it is very similar, like the same has been carry forward to the department, different departments like finance, marketing, HR. So there will be, they are having a line manager, right?
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Voice breaking, amma. Now it is okay.
Now two sound is coming, sir.
No, sir, your
Breaking.
sound is breaking.
Now also, I'm I'm on the same place, same internet. Now it is okay. Pure line organization. You are able to hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ah, yes. So we will be seeing about pure line and departmental line. So next what we are going to see is refers to the span of control. So delegation of authority, line and staff we have seen. Now we will be going to see about span of control. So tall structure and flat structure, wherein the span small or narrow with many hierarchical levels. In case of flat, so span, sorry, tall structure, what it means is starts from CO to the supporting staff, comes as your tall structure. It will be having different levels of managers until to the low level managers, right? That comes as your tall structure. Flat structure is nothing but what we have seen as divisional. So zonal, regional wise we have seen, right? So Coca-Cola, which is having an organization, under that directly we will be having America, Asia, Europe. That kind of structure is said to be the flat structure. So the span of control from tall structure, it has to be flow from levels to the levels. In case of flat structure, it will directly you can control because the level of hierarchy is very less in case of flat structure, right? Importance of somebody is creating problem here is that
Soundarya, please mute yourself. Soundarya.
importance of line and staff organization. So in the complex business environment, it is essential to have services of various types of specialists. So the staff functionaries play a supportive role to line functionaries. That is what I have told you, vertical, horizontal. So what are all the orders which has been given by the vertical has been carried out by the horizontal. So vertical will be say it as line functions. Horizontal it will be say we can say it as staff function. Right. Next what we are going to see is MBO, management by objectives, specifying the performance goals that an individual. So this will, the main objective of this is to find out the performance, right? Performance of an employee by creating an objective, right? So job review and agreement, development of performance standards, objective setting and continuing performance discussion. So this is one of the way of finding out the performance. There are n number of different kinds of performance evaluation techniques which is available. It is starting from grading, ranking, 360-degree appraisal, right? Direct interviews, outsourcing the interviews and finding out the performance. And another type is MBO, management by objectives. From the beginning of the session, what I have told you is the organization, which is very important to carry out a work in an organized manner. So the organized manner, what I am mentioning here is you have to either decentralize your power or keep all your power with you centralized, right? You have to follow different structures. You can use matrix, you can use hybrid, you can use functional, you can use divisional. It is based upon your needs of an organization and the levels of the employees what you are having, right? So all that has been done and you will be falling into delegation of authority, right? Span of control. Then what you are going to do is measuring the performance of your employee. So here for measuring that performance, we will be seeing about MBO. Only one performance evaluation technique I have mentioned here, that is MBO. Likewise, you will be having so many techniques. With this, the organization and its importance have been coming to end. Next, what we are going to see is all about communication. Next important concept, right? Communication. Here, types and process of communications, barriers of communications, communication effectiveness, organizational creativity and innovation, entrepreneur management, management of innovation. So let us first start with communication. What is communication? There are a number of different uh, definition has been given. We'll see about McFarland communication. What he has told is a process of meaningful interaction among human beings is generally said to be the communication. So the interaction between two, it might be verbal, it might be non-verbal, action, yes, any signs, all comes as the communication, right? A process of meaningful interaction among human beings. More specifically, it is the process by which meanings are perceived and understandings are reached among human beings, right? So you have to understand whatever way you may give the communication. It is verbal, non-verbal, action, whatever it might be. The objective of that communication is to understandable by the opposite person, right? Meaningful to the opposite person. Then it is said to be the useful communication. And about Newman and Summer, what they have told is an exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions by two or more persons. That is said to be communication. Exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions by two or more persons. Right. So the purpose of communication lies here. The flow of information from in for an organization. It is very much important because through communication only you can send signals, you can flow information from top to the bottom, right? Coordination, it will create coordination, prior communication of your target to your sales department will create more sales. So that way the it will increase coordination, learning management skills, preparing people to accept change, developing good human relations, ideas of subordinates. It is not only from top to the bottom. The communication flow will not always be top to the bottom. Sometimes an innovative idea which may come from low level of an employee. So the communication will flow again from bottom to the top also. That is what here ideas of subordinates encourage, right? So these are all the purpose of communication: flow of information, coordination, learning management skills, preparing people to accept change, developing good human relations, ideas of subordinate, encourage. So types, let us now move on to the types. I have told you, right? Upward, downward, and lateral. So the communication has been divided among by the direction of flow of communication. We can put it as upward. So flow is from down to the top. Downward, it is from top to the bottom. Lateral, in between, right? Communication. So interpersonal communication between persons. So it comes as verbal, non-verbal, and written communications many times. So other non-verbal communication. In verbal, non-verbal, we'll be having other non-verbal. It comes as body movement, facial expressions, right? In our homes, we'll be able to see. So mothers and fathers will speak by facial expression itself. Some of the important communication has been passed in between by simple facial changes, expressions, right? Signs. So they can able to understand if they are having more coordination. So that will also comes under non-verbal communication. Silence as a communication. Absence of speech or noise, powerful form of communication, can indicate thinking, anger, fear, right? Sometimes without speaking, if you are asking some questions, opposite person is not able to tell the answer. He simply sees you. That might sometimes irritates you. You might think that he will be looking at you with anger, right? It will also create some problem. It will also send some signal, right? That way, even absence of speech or noise will also be taken here as communication, right? So there are famous sayings in Tamil also, maunam sammadam. Sometimes if you are not saying anything, what it means is you are accepting to that conversation, right? So the communication process has been given here as this. This might be very important. So communication process. So sender, communication starts with a sender, right? He encoding what he is telling. It goes through the channel and there it gets decoded and the receiver gets the message. It is what the communication process has been flowing. So one person sends a message, others receives it. The process becomes more complex. However, because the information, the message must be sent and received accurately. So here encoding, decoding, all these have been here to make you understand the importance of that communication. So there might be any intruders in between. They may also understand the communication between these two, right? A third person will also enter into that communication and understand. For that purpose, they will be encoding and decoding. There is a security purpose in between that. So importance of communication comes as the basis of coordination, fluency of working, the basis of decision making, increases managerial efficiency, increases cooperation and organizational peace. It boosts morale of the employees, right? So all these are the importance of a communication happening in between persons in an organization, right? It will have more impact. It will create more impact. If you communicate properly, half of the work has been done, right? If your communication is not that much good, that objective or the work has not to be accomplished. So that way communication gains its importance. So five general techniques of communication here is written. As you all know, formal letters flowing from a person to person, employee to employee, manager to the subordinates, all comes as written communication. Spoken communication, right? What we call it as political. Some persons will speak, remaining all will hear, right? that is spoken communication, visual, media visual communication, multimedia communication, symbolic communication, symbol signs, all comes as general techniques of communication. So here under written communication, what are all the different techniques which is available? Issuing memo, notice board, letter to staff, email, faxes, internal newsletter, all comes as the written communication. Not only by in your hand by putting pen and writing, that is not only the written communication, right? So sending email, faxes, internal newsletters, notice boards, putting some notifications in the notice board, all comes as your memos. Even memos you are sending to your coordinates or subordinates as also becomes as here written communication. The returns which they are filing for your memo is also taken it as the written communication. Methods of spoken or verbal communication, telephone as we all know, one-to-one meeting, department or interdepartmental meeting, presentations, company meeting, all comes as spoken, verbal communication, right? So visual or computer-aided communication. Here again, email, instant messaging, intranet, extranet, video conferencing. Now the communication, most 80 to 90 percentage communication happening through computer-aided, right, devices. Next is the multimedia communication or wireless, broadband, multimedia signal processing, all the connectivities comes as multimedia communication. Symbolic communication involves both the verbal and non-verbal symbolism to convey meaning. Art and music are the forms of symbolic communication, right? So let us have an example like Bharatanatyam. They will be doing a drama by dancing itself, right? They will be dancing and expressing the Mahabharata and some other works, right? Ramayana, Mahabharata, and some other works by a simple dance. They will be delivering a communication. Those who understand what they are doing by showing their hands and the movements, what they are putting, it will all having their own the ideas, their own storytellings, right? So those who understand that, they can able to find what they are telling, how they are expressing, they are enjoying sometimes, right? But that most of the time we will be not able to understand because we don't know how they are expressing. So that comes as symbolic communication. So these are all the communication which is available. Next is the barriers. What are all the noises? What are all the errors or the stoppages in communication? So situation, it has been divided into common, situational, sender barriers and receiver barriers. All comes as your barriers to effective communication. Sometimes from the sender itself, sometimes from the receiver itself, sometimes it is situational, sometimes it is common. So all this comes as your barriers to effective communication. So physical, perceptual, psychological, emotional, language, interpersonal, cultural, gender, organizational, structural barriers, all this comes as common barriers. So in these four, we'll be seeing about common barriers is physical, perceptual, psychological, emotional, language, interpersonal, cultural, all this happening commonly, right? Next is situation based jargons, what they are telling, what they are writing, right? In what context it has been said. The same word, it has been taken into different context, right? That comes as your jargon. Information overload, what you are want to do, what you are trying to say, that has been not there in that. But it will be having so many other things loaded. Climate, even rain or all other things will affects your communication comes as climate. Distance, the communication distance, traveling distance will also change the communication, noise in between, time pressure, Murphy laws, mechanical failure, all as said to be the situation related barriers attached with communication. Next is the sender related barriers. So communications barriers, because of the sender, it comes as fear. Either are thinking whether we can put it or not. Communication skills, lack of communication, communication goals, interpersonal sensitivity, differing frame of reference, non-verbal signals, improper diction. So all the barriers which is on the side of sender. The same way here it is for the receiver also, evaluating the source. So who has will be receiving so many mails. Most of the mails comes as spam. Some of the spam mails comes as in the updates or our inboxes. So we don't know what is the source. The communication has been with us, but we don't know whether we'll relay that communication or not. So all that comes as the receiver end barriers, right? So there is a barrier between men and women generally if we talk. So men talk to emphasize status, power and independence. Complain that women talk on and on, offer solutions to boost about their accomplishments. So here, what about women? Establish connection and intimacy, criticize men for not listening, speak of problems to promote closeness, express regret and restore balance to a conversation. So one side men what they are telling is women are talking more without the context. Another side women are telling that they are not listening. Right. So there is a fight between these two men and women. There will be a barrier. So all these are the barriers which has been listed out under these two categories. So with this, let us close down the session. Right. If possible, I will tell the remaining in the next session, or otherwise. Here I have the question paper of the previous semester. So see here, this is the question paper what I have found out in DDE. So part A, so interpret the functions of management, describe the levels in management, characteristics of a sound plan, scope of management by objective. Today we have seen right MBO that has been asked in the June examination, and the impact of technology on organizational design. So what we have seen organizational design today. So that you have to write on the view of technology, process of communication, what I have told you, right? So it starts from sender to the receiver, encoder, decoder, in between channel, right? So all these are the question papers. So these are all the other questions which will be very, very easy, and you can so illustrate the barriers of business communication. So I have taken today, right? So all this has been there in the June 2024 question paper. So go through these question papers. I have sent this question paper to some of the students, those who asked me, right? So with this, let us close down the session, and all the best for your examinations. It is approaching very near, and it is already 3, I think. Thank you all. If you have any doubt, you can post me now. Otherwise, we'll wind up the session.
Sir, question paper will be there in links also and DD link.
I'm not able to understand what you are asking.
Sir, question paper will be in DD website no, sir.
Website, you will be having older question papers. What I have shown is June 2024.
Sir, can you please send it in email, sir?
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. That is not a problem. That I will share you. Those who want, you can put a mail. I'll forward you. Right.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all.